The noise was deafening, its waves creating visible motion in the grass below my window, stretching out over the hills and into the chasm that sat a few 100 feet away. The noise faded and the grass re-erected itself, a light breeze washing it over to the other side. Gradually, the noise started again, this time coming from the opposite side of the house. I turned and I ran towards it, jumping through the kitchen into the window. Once again, the grass was folded towards me. Slowly, the noise increased until it engulfed me. Then, it faded again, leaving me with the silence of the lands around me. The noise had started a few weeks ago, and had remained constant. It varied between the times of day, sometimes early in the morning as if waking me for work, and other times late at night, keeping me awake. This was one of those times. I hadn't ventured out to find the source. I didn't have the courage. Its location seemed to change daily, but for the last few days it had remained consistent with its placement, in the chasm beside my home. I turned away from the window and looked at my kitchen. It was dark and gloomy. The light above had shattered long ago, and I couldn't be bothered to change it, the darkness almost comforting. Takeaway boxes lay strewn across the floor, mould growing from the half-eaten food that stuck out from them. I had become a mess since the noise began. I turned back to the window, hoping to maybe catch a glance of something that might justify my restlessness, my worry, my fear. It was as if the sound had opened a deep pit of fear and terror that I had never experienced before. There were no words I could use to describe the sound. It was unlike anything I'd ever heard before, but the closest I could get was hell. I heard the noise begin again, this time quieter, teasingly, trying to catch my attention. I turned my head, the hills bordering the chasm slowly leaking into my eyeline. Once I faced the hills, I walked towards the window and stopped. My eyes scanned the horizon. This time, it felt quieter, the sound no longer piercing, almost soothing. Without the pain, it became a melody. I found myself humming along to it, my foot tapping against the wooden floor and a smile across my face. My eyes were fixed on the hills. But then they started to move. The hills began to contort and bend, raising themselves higher than my house and then crashing down in front of the window. I gazed in awe at the sight, my foot still tapping, my throat still humming, and my smile still growing. The hills continued to crash beneath the window, but I didn't notice, my eyes still captivated by their movement. Then, all of a sudden, the noise stopped and the hills shot back to their usual places. The sudden silence shocked me, and I stumbled back, clutching my chest as my heart started to beat faster. In the back of my mind, I could hear a growl. It was slight enough for me to blame the wooden floor that I was crouched on. But then it grew, and fear started to set in. My eyes were cast to the floor, dread filling every fibre of my being. I could feel eyes on me, but I couldn't tell where they were. I kept my head down, safe in the knowledge that the floor beneath me was safe. At that moment, a creak emanated from the floor, and my breathing stopped. Sweat was now coursing down my body, soaking my shirt and making my palms clammy. With wide eyes I tried to listen for where the sound was coming from. The creaks were slow and precise, although not trying to hide. Each felt methodical, like a lion stalking its prey. The thought of me being prey did not comfort me. I tried to stand, but my legs were jelly, refusing to move from their spot, as if rooted by grass beneath the foundation. Another creak. I released a shaky breath, suddenly seeing it condense in front of me, despite the warm air. Another creak. They weren't footsteps, I knew that, so whatever had entered my house was not human. I moved my eyes to the corner of my vision, trying to see a shadow of whatever was stalking me, only to remember the broken kitchen light. Another creak echoed through my mind, haunting teasing me. All of a sudden, there was a rush of creaks and I screamed. I collapsed into a ball and wrapped my arms around my knees, bringing myself into a tight ball, tears falling down my face. I pressed my knees against my closed eyelids and started to sob, waiting for the cruel hand of death to swipe at me, but no swipe came. I waited, lying there on the floor, tears streaming down my face, and I gently rocked myself, as if I were in a cot. The creaks had stopped, and the rush seemingly led to nowhere. I couldn't tell how long I lay there. It could have been a week, or even a day, but it certainly wasn't soon. After I released myself from the ball, I was greeted by a dark room. It was night, I thought, so I moved into my kitchen and opened the fridge, scanning the shelves for something to eat. As I sat down, trying to drown the memories in alcohol and Chinese takeaway, I forced my mind to focus on the television in front of me. I forced the memories out, forced the sound out, filling the void I was trying to create with whatever I was watching. If I could forget, then I could be spared the memory of the rushing creeks and the moving hills, and the noise that only the devil himself could have created. Then, slowly, it began again. I turned, wide-eyed, and faced the window and saw the same scene. The rolling hills perched on the edge of the chasm, the grass pointed towards me, and the screaming melody that started again. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to read the story for yourself without my narration, please do check out my website, which is linked in the description below, where you can read this story and about a dozen others. If you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to know when I release another one, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.